Hey guys, this video is to help you understand a little bit more about the writing process. Just as a reminder, in case you forgot or maybe you never knew, but process is just another word for how you do something. So, for example, there's a process for tying your shoes. You learned how to do it when you were probably in first grade, and now you know each time you do it, you follow those steps. So, just like tying your shoes, there's a process for writing. This is what real authors use when they write books, papers, and articles. It's also what authors use when they make graphic novels or comics. It's even what they use when they write screenplays for movies. And this is what I use for emails and papers. This looks complicated, but don't worry, we'll go through it. So, where this star is, this is always a reminder for you. This is where we start. This is step number 1 in our process. And all it is to plan and organize. So, for you, you've already started a plan. You thought of your idea or topic. So, in this case, we thought of an idea that we're going to be writing a story about a school. But say you were writing nonfiction, you might have a topic like, I don't know, you're going to write all about sloths. Then you might need to research or gather information. That's usually for nonfiction writing. So, say you might need to gather information about what sloths eat and where they live. But for our story, we get to skip this step because we don't really need to research a fiction story. And then the final step is to make your plan. So you could use an outline, you could talk it out, you could use a graphic organizer. Today I'm going to show you a graphic organizer. It's just a way of kind of putting our thoughts together. But usually what I do is I just talk it out. So if I'm writing a letter to someone, I might talk it out to myself. I might talk out my ideas with a friend. And then I start to do step number 2. So once you have a plan, you're going to move on to the next stage, which is that you're going to write. This is step number 2. Sometimes you might hear someone call it drafting. So they might say, I want you to make a rough draft. That just means you're going to write your first kind of thoughts down. Use your plan as a guide, and then you're going to write as fast and furiously as you can. Your main goal here is to get the ideas on the page and to worry about mistakes later, because we still have a lot of the process to go. And so this is really just about getting your ideas out. Once you've written your first draft and you have what you think is a great story, you move along and you're going to check out step number 3 in the process. Step number 3 is revise. To revise something means that you reread it and you make it sure that it makes sense. We haven't gone over this yet, but I have a trick for that too. It's called ARMS. That's where you need to check to see, do I need to add any details? For instance, do I need to have the characters talking? Do I need more action? Do I need to make something more clear? Like maybe I didn't describe the school very well, or I didn't describe what was happening at a certain point and it's confusing. Maybe I need to remove some details. Maybe I went on way too long about a part of the story that wasn't interesting and I need to just cut it out. Or maybe I need to move something. Maybe I put the exciting problem way too late and then it just kind of ends and it's confusing. Or maybe I need to substitute some things. I need to add in more rich vocabulary and interesting details. I go through and revise. Now, I want you to pay attention here that I've added an arrow that goes back. If you go through and you revise and you realize that you need to make a bunch of these changes, you might be writing another draft. So someone might tell you, oh, I need you to write a second draft after your first draft. And you might go back and you're going to rewrite some of your ideas. So you might rewrite after you've revised, and then you go back and you revise again. Does it look good? And if you think it looks good and it makes sense, you can move on to the 4th step. The 4th step is when you edit. And this is when you make it presentable and you check for your mistakes. That's when we use caps. So you're checking to make sure that you have capitals, that you've used correct sentences, that you have great punctuation and your spelling's great. If you don't do this step, when you give your writing to someone, it might not make sense and it'll look confusing. So it's important to just make sure that it looks like real writing. Finally, you're going to move on to the last step. This is publishing. And this is the whole reason that we write something. So this is the point of it. And you need to think about, okay, I've written this great story. How do I want to share it? Am I going to read it aloud to the class? Do I want to publish it to a blog? Do I want Miss Bear to help me publish it online? Do you just want to send it to me? Do you think you might need to think about what your finished piece looks like? So, for instance, do you want to add pictures to it? I can show you that. Or maybe you want to print it and make it look like a real book. This is the reason why we write. It's an incredibly important part of the writing process. So, you might notice that there's another arrow here, and that's because the writing process is never really done. Once you're done writing something, you'll always start to write again. And that's where you'll start with your plan and thinking of a new idea or topic. And you will go through the whole thing all over again. Today, I'm going to show you how to use your graphic organizer for your assignment. You're going to open up your assignment and it says plan and organize your story. I've given you 2 different kinds of graphic organizers. You can pick one or do both. In the first one, you could tell me your characters, your setting, your problem and conflict, your solution, and then answer the question about theme, what will the characters learn? Or maybe you just want to tell me what's going to happen in the beginning, middle, and end. This is really important. You should not spend more than 10 minutes on this. 10 minutes max. If you spend a half an hour on this, you're probably spending way too much time. So only spend 10 minutes. I think I'm going to use this first one to help me plan. Oh, and I know I can only spend 10 minutes on this. I bet I can do it even faster than that. So I'm going to go through, and I bet one of the first things that you guys know is your setting, because it should be your school. And you know how cool it is. You've added details. You thought about it the last week. And make sure that you have a name. So like maybe I'm going to call mine Eastside Elementary. That's the name of my school. Graphic organizers also are cool because you don't have to write incomplete sentences. It's just about setting up a plan. So I'm going to be in the story. I'm going to have a mean teacher, and I'm going to have a nice teacher. I'm going to have a whole class of kids. And then I'm going to have some main characters. One's named Ben, one's named Shelby, one's named Hoel, and the last one's name is Jessica. Those are my characters. All right, my problem. Well, the mean teacher is making the kids' life horrible. Oops. Whenever you see one of those red lines, you know you've spelled it wrong. Making the kids' life horrible. And the solution, I think the kids and the nice teacher will save the school. I have to think more about what I want this to be. Like, maybe she is taking all their stuff. I have to plan more. What do I want the characters to learn? I think I want them to learn the golden rule. If you don't know what that means, the golden rule just means to treat others like you want to be treated. So I have some more planning I need to do here. Like, she's taking their stuff. Maybe she is trying to stop their play. Maybe the kids are going to be in a play. Okay, that's a good one. They're going to be in a play, and the mean teacher is trying to stop the play. And then they save the school and the play in the end. But of course, I'm going to have different secrets. So if I were starting here, I might tell you about how they're getting ready for their play and how the evil teacher is doing all of these terrible things to stop the play. And the kids at first don't know what's going on. But then they start to, and then the kids come up with all of these different cool ways to trick the mean teacher and to save the day. So that plan took me just a couple of minutes, and that's how long yours should be too. And then you can share it back to me. The secret word for today, because I talked about it earlier, is sloth. Because of course you guys know that I like that. So make sure that you're writing the secret word in your answer below, and know that no one can see your answer until you have written your own. So good luck, and I will see you in a little bit.